The 1936 Stout Scarab was not just another car from the Depression era. It was a beetle-shaped revolution on wheels, designed by aviation pioneer William Bushnell Stout and widely credited as the world's first production minivan, arriving a full half-century before Chrysler's groundbreaking 1984 models or Volkswagen's beloved microbus. In an age when most automobiles were tall, boxy, upright machines with narrow cabins, exposed running boards, and rigid seating for 4 or 5, the Scarab dared to look and function like something from the future, a sleek, teardrop-profiled body inspired by the Scarab beetle, with a dramatically rounded nose, smooth contours, and no traditional fenders or hood to interrupt its aerodynamic flow. At its core was a radical, rear-mounted Ford Flathead 5.8 engine, eliminating the driveshaft tunnel and creating a flat, spacious floor that transformed the interior into a genuine living space, seating up to 7 passengers in flexible, lounge-like arrangements with swivel chairs, a removable table, and panoramic windows that flooded the cabin with light. This was no mere people carrier. It embodied Stout's visionary concept of mobility as a living room on wheels, offering family comfort, modularity, and self-contained travel on the rough, unpaved roads of 1930s America, long before the post-war boom made such ideas mainstream. In a time of basic transportation, the Scarab didn't just move people, it redefined how they could live while moving. To grasp the revolutionary essence of the 1936 Stout Scarab, one must first immerse in the harsh realities of Depression-era, 1930s America. The Great Depression had gripped the nation since 1929, crippling industries and leaving millions unemployed, yet automobiles were slowly evolving from the boxy, inefficient relics of the 1920s. Cars like the Ford Model A or the Chevrolet Master were tall, upright machines with rigid ladder frames, exposed running boards, narrow cabins, and mechanical simplicity that prioritized basic reliability over comfort or efficiency. Roads were often unpaved, fuel scarce, and long-distance travel a grueling affair, far from the post-war highway boom that would redefine mobility. Enter William Bushnell Stout, a visionary whose background bridged aviation and automotive innovation. Born in 1880, Stout was a pioneering engineer and journalist who founded the Stout Metal Airplane Company in 1922, revolutionizing aircraft design with all-metal construction. Acquired by Henry Ford in 1925, his work helped produce the iconic Ford Trimotor, a rugged 3-engine plane that dominated early commercial aviation and honed Stout's expertise in aerodynamics, lightweight structures, and efficiency. As president of the Society of Automotive Engineers, Stout crossed paths with Buckminster Fuller, whose radical 1933 Dymaxion car, a teardrop-shaped rear-engine prototype, inspired him deeply. Stout also drew from nature, modeling the Scarab's form after the Scarab beetle's smooth armored shell for optimal aerodynamic flow, blending biological efficiency with mechanical ingenuity. The conception of the Scarab began with prototypes in 1932, hand-built in Detroit at Stout Engineering Laboratories, and evolved into limited production under the Stout Motor Car Company by 1936. This unfolded amid the streamlined modern movement, a 1930s design trend sweeping trains, appliances, and vehicles with fluid, wind-cheating lines that symbolized progress and speed in a stagnant era. However, economic woes, including sky-high unemployment, tight credit, and consumer caution, doomed it to niche status. Priced at around $5,000, the Scarab was a bespoke experiment for the elite, not a mass-market vehicle, with only about 9 units ever crafted, underscoring the era's barriers to bold innovation. At the heart of the 1936 Stout Scarab's brilliance lay its groundbreaking design and engineering, a seamless fusion of aviation principles and automotive ambition that prioritized efficiency, space, and comfort in ways unimaginable for most 1930s vehicles. Stout, drawing from his aircraft expertise, envisioned a car that mimicked the Scarab beetle's compact, armored efficiency, not a mere conveyance, but a mobile habitat. The result was an aerodynamic teardrop-shaped body that eschewed the era's boxy norms, measuring approximately 195 inches long, 74 inches wide, and 72 inches tall, with a generous 135-inch wheelbase. This footprint allowed for surprising maneuverability despite its minivan-like proportions, while keeping the curb weight around 3,300 pounds, remarkably light for its size thanks to innovative construction techniques. The body's structure was a pioneering unitized design, often described as an early monocoque, where aluminum panels were riveted over a tubular steel space frame, with some sources noting aluminum framing elements for further weight savings. This approach, inspired by Stout's work on all-metal airplanes like the Ford Trimotor, eliminated the need for a separate heavy chassis, reducing overall mass and enhancing structural integrity. The smooth, flowing contours, a rounded nose tapering to a blunt rear, were not just aesthetic. They minimized aerodynamic drag, improving fuel efficiency and high-speed stability on the rudimentary roads of the time. Custom components amplified this forward-thinking ethos. Art Deco styling cues, such as chrome accents and a Beetle-like profile, gave it a futuristic allure, while practical omissions, like no running boards or protruding fenders, created a flush, integrated silhouette. Hidden door hinges and flush-mounted glass further reduced wind resistance, and rear-wheel skirts concealed the wheels for a cleaner look. These choices were not arbitrary. Stout calculated that aerodynamics could slash fuel consumption by up to 20% compared to conventional cars, making the Scarab more economical for long-distance family travel in an era of economic hardship and sparse gas stations. Powering this radical form was a rear-mounted Ford flathead V8 engine, displacing 221 cubic inches, 3.6 liters, and producing between 85 and 95 horsepower, depending on the tuning. It was typically rated at 85 horsepower at 3,800 revolutions per minute with 154 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a 3-speed manual transmission, often column-mounted for easier access, this setup was reversed from standard practice, with the engine driving the rear wheels directly. The rationale was multifaceted. Placing the powertrain at the back improved weight distribution for better traction, especially on slippery or uneven surfaces like the gravel roads common in rural America. It also eliminated the driveshaft tunnel that plagued front-engine cars, allowing for a completely flat low floor throughout the cabin. This not only lowered the center of gravity for enhanced stability, but also maximized interior volume, turning the Scarab into a versatile office on wheels as Stout intended. Fuel economy hovered around 18 miles per gallon, modest by today's standards but impressive for a V8-powered vehicle in 1936, thanks to the aerodynamic efficiencies and lightweight build. Innovations extended to the chassis and ride quality, where the Scarab featured fully independent coil spring suspension on all 4 wheels, a rarity when most cars relied on rigid axles and leaf springs. The front used wishbone arms with vertical coil springs and hydraulic shock absorbers. The rear employed a swing axle setup with transverse leaf springs, or coils, different prototypes varying slightly in exact configuration. This system delivered a smooth, compliant ride, absorbing bumps far better than contemporaries, and it contributed to the car's stable handling despite its tall profile. Hydraulic brakes, cast iron drums at each wheel, provided reliable stopping power, advanced for the era when mechanical brakes were still common. These elements were not just for luxury, they addressed practical needs, like maintaining passenger comfort during extended trips without the jarring vibrations of typical 1930s suspensions. Inside, the modular interior was the Scarab's crowning achievement, seating 7 to 8 passengers in flexible configurations that anticipated modern minivans. The driver's seat was fixed, but rear seats could swivel 180 degrees, fold into beds, or rearrange around a removable central table for dining or work. Luxurious lacewood paneling, or birch in some units, lined the walls, creating a warm, aircraft-inspired cabin, while large panoramic windows and skylights flooded the space with natural light, enhancing the sense of openness. Storage compartments and convertible layouts allowed it to function as a mobile lounge, office, or sleeper, rationalized by Stout as essential for families or professionals on the go, freeing them from hotel dependencies. Performance was modest but purposeful, a top speed of about 75 miles per hour, with acceleration suited more to steady cruising than drag racing. The rear engine layout ensured even weight distribution under load, making it stable at highway speeds and surprisingly capable in inclement weather. Stout's vision culminated in a 1946 experimental prototype, a post-war evolution with a fiberglass body for even lighter weight, air suspension for adjustable ride height, and refined aerodynamics, proving the concept's enduring potential, though only one was built amid shifting industry priorities. In every detail, the Scarab's engineering explained its rationales: aerodynamics for fuel and speed efficiency, the rear engine layout for superior space utilization and traction, and modular features for real-world versatility. It wasn't built for mass appeal, but to demonstrate what vehicles could become, decades before such ideas went mainstream. Beyond its engineering marvels, the 1936 Stout Scarab's true legacy unfolded in its operational life, where it served as a pioneering office on wheels, tailored for families and professionals seeking mobility without sacrificing comfort. Stout himself leveraged the early prototypes for promotional tours across the United States, demonstrating the vehicle's versatility at auto shows and public events, where it drew crowds amazed by its lounge-like interior and smooth highway manners. One notable owner, circus magnate John Ringling North of Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey, acquired a Scarab for extensive travel, using it to shuttle performers and executives between venues, appreciating its spacious cabin for meetings and rest during grueling tours. In real-world applications, the Scarab excelled on long-distance trips, embodying self-sufficiency with its modular seating that converted into beds, ample storage for provisions, and panoramic views that made journeys feel like extensions of home. Despite the steep $5,000 price tag, equivalent to a top-tier luxury car like a Packard 12 in an era when average incomes hovered around $1,500, the Scarab's comfort justified the cost for affluent buyers, offering respite from the era's unreliable hotels and rough roads. Production remained limited to about 9 units between 1934 and 1946, constrained by high hand-built expenses and bespoke craftsmanship. Yet those that rolled out proved remarkably reliable, logging thousands of miles with minimal breakdowns in an age of frequent mechanical woes. The Scarab's fate was sealed by the tumult of World War II and its aftermath, with production halting around 1946 as industrial priorities shifted toward wartime manufacturing and post-war recovery, leaving Stout's ambitious project as a brief, visionary interlude rather than a commercial mainstay. Remarkably, most of the approximately 9 hand-built units, from early 1932 prototypes to the final 1946 fiberglass experiment, have survived as cherished artifacts, a testament to their robust engineering and historical allure. Several are preserved today in prestigious collections. The Owl's Head Transportation Museum houses one. Private collector Larry Smith maintains a meticulously restored 1936 model in Pontiac, Michigan, often loaned for exhibitions at venues like the Frist Art Museum. The Detroit Historical Society safeguards the 1935 Wrigley family Scarab and the innovative 1946 fiberglass prototype. The Gilmore Car Museum in Hickory Corners, Michigan, displays the Project Y prototype, ensuring these rarities remain accessible to enthusiasts and securing the Scarab's lasting legacy. Yet, the Scarab's true legacy transcends its physical remnants, proving the viability of minivan-style vehicles with spacious, versatile interiors 50 years before mainstream adoption in the 1980s. Its modular seating, flat floor efficiency, and family-oriented design echoed in later icons like the Volkswagen Microbus and Chrysler minivans, influencing how automakers reimagined people movers for everyday life. Ultimately, the Scarab stands as a singular experiment in forward-thinking design, a bold fusion of aviation ingenuity and automotive foresight that imagined the future of mobility long before society caught up. The 1936 Stout Scarab endures as a profound testament to visionary engineering that outpaced its era, illustrating how innovation often springs from bold individuals like William Bushnell Stout, who masterfully blended aviation principles with automotive design to create something utterly transformative. In imagining a living room on wheels, Stout foresaw the future of family transport in the 1930s, long before minivans became everyday staples, proving that radical ideas can redefine mobility and comfort for generations. If you value rare machines that challenged conventions and pushed the boundaries of what vehicles could be, don't forget to subscribe and stay with the channel.